The Woodson Research Collection is essentially the archives and the rare book collection of Fondren Library.
The staff at the Woodson create order out of chaos.
When I first came, the Woodson Research Center was basically a place for storing photos and memorabilia of Rice. The person who's doing just an absolutely superb job is Melissa Kane as the university historian.
Continuity is a real virtue in the archives, having the same people there for a long time, all right, because you can remember, oh yeah, remember those pictures we got? Lee Peck, he's probably been here for close to 20 years.
Sports sweater, probably from the 1920s, 30s era.
What do you think that brings to an institution?
You know, that's a really good question. It brings a lot if people are willing to listen to the materials.
Our one computer, there were 20 panels exactly like that. This computer had the power of a garage door opener today.
It allows historians to understand, how did we get where we are? Everything that's here got here because of a series of decisions that were made.
There are research collections there of really surprising depth. You can find everything from a very early edition of Newton's Principia to all the issues of the Rice Thresher.
A lot of people use these materials now.
I think it's a wonderful place for students, grad students and undergraduates to use.
Outside researchers use them.
It is a very professional organization. We have some major collections we are continuing to buy and build, but it also sort of signaled that Rice was in the business of being serious about collecting archival material that scholars could work on in areas where we had some strength or some reason to be the owner.
Excellent collection includes drama, comedy, farce, tragedy. Our rare book collection includes what is known as incunabula, dating prior to 1500.
Copernicus's revolutions.
Early edition, very unusual edition because it has not been trimmed to size, and there are only two known of these in North America. Masterson Texana collection is one of the best collections on Texas history in the state. Here we have a 1836 edition of Stephen F. Austin's sister's description of Texas. Ricketts and Shannon were costume designers, set designers, very involved in the print world and had their own press. Right, the Anderson Aeronautical Collection has been here for a good while, since the late 1960s. It's quite extensive. It starts with the beginnings of the age of flight, the balloons. We get people from NASA looking at this collection. We have airplane enthusiasts come all the time to look at that collection. Cruikshank material is on George Cruikshank, who was a political cartoonist, 18th, 19th century political cartoon. This collection actually came from Bob Patton. It
was suggested to me by my thesis advisor. Love him, he was a great, great mentor. But he said casually one day in about 1966, nobody's done a biography of Dickens' first illustrator, George Cruikshank. And so I did get friendly with the greatest collector of Cruikshank at that time, a man named Frank Bradburn, who lived just north of Liverpool, and eventually was able to buy his collection.
The Austria Collection is the collection that I actually sort of discovered by accident about 20 years ago. John Austria, who was a native of Pennsylvania, who came to Texas, I guess about 1850, and he was the editor of a newspaper, antebellum newspaper, through the Civil War.
Yeah.
We had a very large collection of his letters and back and forth to his relatives in Pennsylvania, and then letters to his friends and business associates in Texas. Then there are a number of collections of individuals, some of whom have some connection with Rice. For example, Julian Huxley.
Julian Huxley.
The Julian Huxley collection is his entire personal library.
Julian's notes at the time he was a kid even, and on any of his field trips.
His views about biology, his views about race, his views about politics.
And at that time we collected all of the photographs from Julian's African safaris and field notes from the 30s and 40s. So The collection continues to grow, and we've found more things to add to it.
The most wonderful thing to me about any library, and Fondren is a particularly good example of what I'm going to describe, is the way in which it takes people essentially engaged in an isolated activity where you don't have an opportunity to interact with others, and puts you into a space where you can go on with that work, but where you are aware that you are part of a community.
There is a real commitment here to helping the scholarly community.
So, and there's various things here. This is something that I just, this is completely
That's really
new
interesting.
file there.
That is really
on
interesting.
the founding of the gay lesbian group. So that's all separate, okay?
Okay.
This is a bit of a problem. There's a lot of things here from the, from Mobile versus Bolden, but I participated in it, and it turned out to be a really important voting rights trial. I need to handle this. I'm not giving it.
He's taking things back now.
Wait a minute. Pull the stuff, tag the stuff, they bring it over to the library where it goes down into the workroom, and the people, the staff of the Woodson, Lee Peck, Phil Montgomery, they start going through the stuff and putting it in some kind of order.
As a collection comes in, we've already surveyed it and appraised it for suitability for the archives. It will come into our processing room, and we will rebox and refold the materials.
Then they get it into boxes, get it into file folders, all labeled. We make a finding aid for it that then goes up on the internet.
It will be put in computer language, archival language.
So that a researcher, could go onto our website and see, oh, they have the provost papers, get some rough idea of what's in there. Then the boxes are taken out to the Library Service Center.
As we come to our 100th birthday, and discovering as we change buildings and move around that there's all this stuff, all these records and things that nobody thought they had.
The staff of the Woodson, as I said, they do a great job.
You have extremely sort of esoteric, a first folio of Shakespeare, plus a 1929 Rice Humor magazine. It's all down there.
Now this is what makes any university rich in the memories of its communities, having these material artifacts.
In whatever, preposterous state it's in, the staff at the Woodson create order out of chaos.